Shut your face. High school.
Hello, I'm Tim Hellman.
And I'm Jamison Challeen.
And this is Movie Talk. Today we're going to review the movie Avengers: Age of Ultron. It's the sequel to the 2012 blockbuster Marvel film, The Avengers, and the 11th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Joss Whedon returned to write and direct this installment, and most of the cast reprises their roles, including Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Samuel Jackson, and others. James Spader, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, and Linda Cardellini joined the cast. This time around, the mighty superhero team must battle an artificial intelligence unit created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner that's bent on revenge against all of humanity. So what'd you think?
I loved it.
Really?
I thought it was great. I mean, I have a few bones to pick with it.
Yeah.
But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I would have to say I enjoyed it almost as much as I enjoyed the first, if not more. I thought Ultron,
much because I thought the characters weren't as developed.
Well,
except for Hawkeye and Black Widow, they were like more.
I felt like
developed.
with the other one too, where they had too much character packing,
Yeah.
and in this one trying to get all the sidekicks packed in there, it felt like
But
they were trying to put too much.
The first one they developed the
in
main
there.
characters, and this one they didn't.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
they
I think that
all
they
their
had
conflicts.
established them. There wasn't too much. We know how Captain America was going to respond to most situations. So, for me, I was curious to see how well Ultron would turn out. I love Ultron.
I did like Ultron.
James Spader made it so creepy he became terrifying.
But I didn't think they explained why he was suddenly evil, though, very well.
Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily explained it in the movie as well, but his idea is that essentially, almost in a Buddhist way, that all desire leads to suffering. So the way to stop all suffering is to stop all desire, and ergo for him to destroy all humanity. Yeah. I don't know if it was actually that clear in the film. I wasn't necessarily looking for that because I know the storyline, but I thought the vision was badass.
Yeah,
I have
cool.
no complaints about the vision. I usually have complaints about a character, but I got no complaints.
So I just thought there was way too much going on, though. Like, it was too all over the place.
Yeah, I would definitely have to say the movie didn't really give you a chance to breathe. Except for through your extremely boring Hawkeye scenes. Anytime he exists in a movie.
Like the farmhouse scenes with him and his wife.
Actually, I liked the actress.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see her in the movie.
Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, they go from Freaks and Geeks.
But Joss Whedon had to fight Marvel to keep those scenes in the movie because they wanted to cut the Hawkeye stuff.
Yeah, and I wanted them to as well. I would have been against Joss Whedon on this one.
He's not going to do another movie because he doesn't get along with Marvel, like a lot of people do.
They're starting to have a reputation for being cheap and unpleasant to work with. Sorry, guys, but that's the reputation.
All the main cast doesn't get paid hardly anything, but Robert Downey Jr. gets his $60 million or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous.
That inequity is, and I do like Robert Downey Jr. and he brings a lot to the film. Yeah. But does he bring 60 times as much as anybody else? No, he does not.
I'm kind of tired of his one-liners, though. I don't think they're funny anymore.
Yeah, it is. It does seem pretty repetitious, and frankly, I like to see that kind of humor from my Spider-Man. Yeah. I don't really like to see it from my Tony Stark. Because he was kind of a darker character.
Thor was great comic relief in this. He was funny.
I thought it was nice to see him have a little more breadth.
What did you think of the Hulk Black Widow love story?
I found it kind of confusing. I understood why they put it in there,
but got him to calm down. I like that part of it.
Well, in the comics, that's kind of Betty Banner's superpower, or Betty Ross if she's not married.
A lot of people are saying, "Where's Betty Ross?"
Yeah,
why is he with Black Widow? That's not in the comic.
But I've always seen the Hulk of the Avengers as kind of different from the Hulk outside the Avengers, because he's kind of always the Hulk, but he remains a certain amount of control. Except for in the movies, he does have that switch over, and he does kind of totally lose control, which I think adds a nice element to it.
Stark's girlfriend wasn't in this at all either.
Pepper Potts, yeah. Which is unfortunate, because I wouldn't mind seeing more Pepper Potts.
And they didn't explain why he was suddenly unretired and his suits were back when he destroyed them all.
Yeah,
Iron Man 3
there were a lot of plot holes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's this trend in Hollywood where they take really great ideas and they don't respect the source material and they destroy them.
Oh, yeah.
They destroy the character. Kind of like what they did with Quicksilver in the X-Men movie. That Quicksilver in the X-Men movie, Future Past Order, was terrible. He looked terrible. The scenes were terrible. I did not enjoy him at all. This one, I kind of enjoyed. And I don't really like Quicksilver as a character, but this guy I actually kind of like.
Is it the same character as the X-Men Quicksilver?
Yeah, the same character.
It's supposed to be the same
And
one.
it's the same Scarlet Witch. I did not care for her. They implied that she had kind of mental powers. And the Scarlet Witch's powers are far more amazing because she actually manipulates probability, and that makes her one of the most powerful mutants ever. She's Magneto's daughter, so she's incredibly powerful.
So I almost think it was maybe too true to the comics, because then it didn't feel like a normal movie at all. It was like too much trying to be faithful and then have a movie flow to it.
I guess,
except for with a normal storyline.
They left out so much of the
well, maybe they tried to cram too much in. And
well, but they left out a lot of great stuff about it. I mean, frankly, it's nice because Ultron was actually invented by Hank Pym. He was never invented by Iron Man. That's horseshit. That line in the movie where Bruce Banner, he's like, "You know more about psycho-cybernetics than anybody." No, he knows more about gamma radiation. That's who you go to. It's cybernetics. He has no. I'm sorry.
And then I know
it's a throwaway gobbledygook.
I thought some of the melodrama was kind of cheesy too.
Oh yeah. But for an overall enjoyable, watchable movie, I loved it.
And the action scenes were kind of Michael Bayish, I thought too.
Did you feel like they were a little?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to see it again. It's hard for me. When I was in the theater, I was kind of looking for one thing, and I got it. I was really looking for an awesome and scary Ultron, which I got.
I liked Ultron.
I was looking for an awesome Vision, and I totally got that. I'm gonna give it 4.5.
That's what I give it.
It loses a 0.5 because of the ending. Maybe some other characters are going to be more involved. And that was...
It reminded me of an X-Men movie, the ending.
Yeah. And that's a terrible idea. Don't ever do that. They lose 0.5 stars for that. Also, for also having Hawkeye in it. So. Hawkeye's good enough to be in the West Coast Avengers. Avengers is your flagship characters. Your Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, and
I thought all those guys are too underdeveloped.
Thor. Yeah, well, I don't really know what more they're going to do with those characters. Basically, all they can do is take their powers away.
They had a little bit of Captain America and Iron Man fighting, but it wasn't very much. It was just like enough to kind of set up. I
felt the Civil War
setup.
Yeah, I definitely felt that Civil War was set up.
So anyway, there's a feud in the news. To the director of Birdman, he said some comments about how he doesn't like superhero films because he thinks they're cultural genocide. He said they're absolutely right-wing because they apply all the violence and they make the rich people the heroes.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point. Like it used to be
Iron Man and Batman are rich.
To make a bad guy a villain, all you had to do was make him a drug dealer.
Yeah.
But now we know a lot more about people who are drug dealers, and there can be reasons why people end up in there. So there might be a little more moral ground around there now than there used to be. So you can't just make them a drug dealer. They have to be a drug dealer plus something else to warrant the amount of violence. So I think that is an interesting point.
Yeah.
That he brings up. I don't know if that's true. It seems a little much.
No, it's a little excessive.
But it is true. It is
he
policing the laws, and the people. Poor people don't need police really because they don't have anything to protect. Rich people need police to protect them from poor people. That's a system that has to work out. But they also need poor people because if they don't have poor people, then they can't take all of their crap. And then hire police to keep their crap. So it's like it's a self-functioning system, and there is a moral code put into comic books, kind of along those lines. That's interesting that he puts it that way. I wouldn't say that is an invalid point of view.